All right, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP, and you're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. Now, I am going to be broadcasting from the Capitol down in Georgia and Atlanta. I'm going to be broadcasting from under the Gold Dome on Wednesday. So I'm going to be packing up the studio, putting it in my to-go box, and headed to Atlanta about 4 a.m. Wednesday morning. I need all of your questions concerning legislation on House bills and Senate bills sent to me ASAP. And identify your questions. We'll get to all we can. I'm starting to line up now who will come sit down with me. Now, what I will do also is I will come back and tell you who I invited to sit down with me and wouldn't do it. We'll say it that way. All right, so Fauci got a pardon. Follow the science. We're going to get to that in a minute. All right? Clapper lied under oath, got a pardon. Nothing happened to him. The spies that lied, number 117. All right? Now, Edward Snowden exposed spying on you and I, American citizens, through our intelligence departments, right? NSA. Now, there is a way that you can be a whistleblower, but as he has said and others, that the minute you do that and you try to come forward, the next thing you know, your house is swarming with FBI. They come in, they seize all your computers, they seize everything you have when it comes to the intelligence community in our country. Spies who lie. Now, we could go through another hour of traitors in this country, traitors. We could go through another hour of people that have stolen money. Absolute traitors when you start saying that. And it's proof what's happened in Tulsi Gabbard's confirmation hearings has proven they don't want to correct our intelligence departments. They don't want to do that. So this past weekend, here is what they kept yelling at Tulsi Gabbard. Remember? Give me, these are the nominees. This is Meet the Press Video 2.
Battles.
Senator, I support vaccines.
This is a job where it is life and death.
Was Edward Snowden a traitor?
My heart is with my commitment to our Constitution.
I would never do anything unconstitutional or unlawful.
President Trump's most controversial nominees face off on Capitol Hill. But will they all be confirmed?
This is a matter of life and death. Except if COVID, if what they do to our children, that's okay. If they allow Fauci to skate while your mom, your dad, your grandparents died from COVID, if we funded gain of function research, USAID, Samantha Powers, all of them, that's okay. If you get spies to lie for you, it's a little different story. So Meet the Press, give me another one, video 3. I'm going to give you the attacks, video 3.
Trump's three most vulnerable cabinet picks were testifying on Capitol Hill. Now, multiple sources tell NBC News there is growing concern in the White House and among Republicans that Tulsi Gabbard's nomination for Director of National Intelligence could be in serious trouble after her confirmation hearing in which she didn't directly answer whether Edward Snowden, who leaked government secrets, is a traitor.
Was he a traitor at the time when he took America's secrets, released them in public, and then ran to China and became a Russian citizen?
Senator, I'm focused on the future and how we can prevent something like this from happening again.
Was Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America?
Senator, I will also repeat my answer. He broke the law.
Yes or no, is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America?
As someone who has worn our uniform in combat, I understand how critical our national security is.
Apparently you don't.
White House officials insist President Trump is standing by Gabbard. Meanwhile, there have been
Now remember, you have a decorated 20-plus year veteran, 5 FBI, spotless FBI checks, all right? Nothing. If you listen to the hearing, not one person said, Ms. Gabbard, I was looking at your FBI background check and there was something that concerned me. Not one. Not one. Now, Eric Schmidt, Video 8, Meet the Press.
Services pressed on everything from embracing medical conspiracy theories to pushing falsehoods about vaccines. Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, a doctor and potential hurdle for Kennedy's confirmation chances, saying he's struggling with the nomination.
Will you reassure mothers unequivocally and without qualification that the measles and hepatitis B vaccines do not cause autism?
Senator, I am not going into the agency with any.
That's kind of a yes or no question.
If the data is there, I will absolutely do that.
And some Republicans with
All right, so Cassidy going after Kennedy. Was that Video 8? Did I call for Video 8? Was that 8?
Yes, that was Video 8.
How did I jump from Video 5? What the hell did I do here, Diane? I tell you what. Give me Video 6. Sorry, Video 6.
Senator, very quickly to you, how would you answer that same question? Is Edward Snowden a traitor?
Look, I think it's so interesting that this lexicon that gets manipulated now, there was a certain words you needed to say during COVID. There are certain words that you needed to say now. The fact of the matter is the people who are most concerned and most pushing this narrative are the same ones who had no issues whatsoever with the intelligence community spying on a presidential candidate that happened to be President Trump, suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story when he was running again, and then, of course, the lawfare that included. So I think people are tired of these games of this sort of this gotcha stuff. Look, if he's been indicted, if he ever comes back to the United States, he's going to have a trial. But this idea of you trying to disqualify people by using these terms is ridiculous.
Well, and what I'm doing really, I mean, these are questions that were asked by your Republican colleagues, including Senator Langford, who asked very simply, is he a traitor, a government contractor who leaked government secrets? It's a very simple question, yes or no. We're almost out of time, though.
Sure.
Is he a traitor?
I think she was pretty clear. I think she's pretty clear
but what do you
that
think?
she served this country honorably. And I think it's totally ridiculous to try to smear people who are trying to serve this country because, again, it's sort of gotcha. And I will also point out a lot of the people that are asking this don't like her because she's going to bring reform. And she's going to curb the excesses and the worst instincts of the intelligence community at times that has gone after presidential candidates.
All right.
Is he a traitor? Is he a traitor? I mean, we're gonna gloss right over everything else. We're not concerned about anything else. We want to know if Tulsi Gabbard, if her support of Edward Snowden, is he a traitor? Is Edward Snowden a traitor? that's very important. Not the fact that they spied on Donald Trump, not the fact that a fake dossier was used in the Pfizer court, right, to spy on a presidential candidate. Nothing. Is Edward Snowden a traitor? That's all they had to go after this lady. Now, you got to remember, I'll get to that in a minute. Give me, let's go a little further. Let's go with video 9. I'm not for sure what's on that one, but more Tulsi Gabbard and the Sunday morning losing their mind.
The national intelligence.
I have no love for Assad or Gaddafi or any dictator.
Now under scrutiny for previously mimicking Russian talking points on issues like Ukraine and praising whistleblower Edward Snowden.
Is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America? That is not a hard question to answer when the stakes are this high.
Senator, as someone who has
your
served
answer
in
yes
uniform,
or no?
Despite some Republicans rallying to their defense.
Are you not concerned about Bobby Kennedy's views on vaccines?
Listen, I think Bobby put that issue to bed.
Both nominees still yet to lock down the key holdout votes they'll need to be confirmed.
Jury's out.
That's correct.
For this week, Jay O'Brien, ABC News.
Now, Michael Bennett from Colorado, Senator of Colorado, yelling at the lady, yelling at her, screaming at her. Answer the question. It's a matter of life and death. Is he a traitor? Keep in mind, John Kerry, Joe Biden, Edward Snowden. Look it up. Go into detail. Face the Nation. Face the Nation, same thing. Video 12.
Particular exchanges with Republican senators Todd Young and James Lankford, who pressed her to say that Edward Snowden was a traitor. Lankford said it was a softball, but listen to what happened.
Did he betray a duty? Did he betray the trust of the American people? Which is, according to Merriam-Webster, that's the definition of a traitor.
Edward Snowden broke the law, and he released this information in a way that he should not have. He also acknowledged and exposed information that was unconstitutional.
Was he a traitor at the time when he took America's secrets, released them in public, and then ran to China and became a Russian citizen?
Senator, I'm focused on the future and how we can prevent something like this from happening again.
You've worked closely with these senators. I know they're Republicans and you're from.
Never happen again. Meaning, maybe we don't spy on Americans. Never happen again. Now, there's a lot of research you could do on Edward Snowden, and this is not a Edward Snowden sympathy segment. All right? But this is what they're hanging on. Now, Diane, I don't remember the time I told you to start it because it's a long interview. We're going to play a little of it. John Stossel, do you know John Stossel? Give me video 33. I gave you a timestamp to start it. Will you start it there and run it until I say stop?
I talked to my supervisors. I talked to my colleagues on Constitution Day.
They were all fine with it. This is just what we do. And
all of them actually in private, they go, no, this is crazy. I'm not sure this is legal. But you know what happens to people who talk about this.
But at some point you decided, I'm not going to keep my mouth shut.
This became such a concern to me that I was willing to risk a great deal to tell people about it and see if they agreed or if I was just crazy.
Snowden took documents to journalists, and the world learned the truth about the NSA spying. American officials said Snowden put lives at risk.
He has damaged his country.
Oh, he got people killed. There were agents. None of it came to pass.
U.S. officials also said Snowden could have revealed the government's lawbreaking legally.
There were other avenues available for somebody whose conscience was stirred.
What he said was incorrect. We know this because it had happened before. You had the FBI burst into your house, they take all your computers, they arrest you, they interrogate you, you lose your clearance, you lose your job.
In my case, they came in with guns drawn. I don't know why they did that, but they did.
Why do you think you were charged under the Espionage Act? To send a chilling message.
Politicians' first priority is to stop you from talking. because they want to control the narrative.
There's a reason why these programs are classified.
The president said Congress knew about the spying, but they didn't because NSA officials misled them.
Does the NSA routinely intercept American citizens' emails?
No.
Does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
This, of course, was false. There was a breathtaking sweep of intentional, knowing public deception. They constantly tell us, this is for your safety. This is to investigate terrorists, right? Barack Obama's own investigations into this found that it didn't stop a single terrorist attack.
At the time, the NSA claimed mass surveillance did.
Numbers of terrorist attacks that NSA programs contributed to stopping was 54.
That makes me feel safer when I hear that.
We want to believe it's true, but it's not. The government itself no longer makes these claims that it stopped 54 plots, right? They have disowned that.
Now, NSA hearings are not my beat. I confess to Snowden.
I got you confused before researching for this interview with Manning and Julian Assange, Snowden, who did what. But now that I've done the research, I conclude that you really got screwed. And yet you talk about this very dispassionately and thoughtfully. Aren't you pissed off? I mean, James Clapper lied to Congress, and he wasn't fired, and now he works for CNN. Keith Alexander now is on Amazon's board. They made out you're in exile.
But if you're one of these made men, working on a high level, you will face a very different flavor of justice, shall we say.
None in the case of these two guys.
Precisely. Or no justice at all.
If Snowden returns to America, he faces a long jail sentence.
I can be very much at.
Now, there's a lot more research you can do here. A lot more research. John Stossel said you got screwed. Now, that's John Stossel. Okay? There's a lot more research you can do here. Now, play video 17 as we wrap this up.
So you said the president has assembled a divided team. One person who I think is pretty close to his stated objectives on foreign policy is Tulsi Gabbard.
Yes.
Who he's nominated to be Director of National Intelligence. The entire Senate Intel Committee appears to be against her, like I think every member.
And that shows that she is completely on the right side.
Well, that's exactly right. Do you think she'll make it? How important is it that she make it?
She's probably, and I don't want to jinx anything, she's probably the most important appointment of the Trump administration.
It does seem that way.
She is incredibly intelligent, incredibly honest, incredibly committed to U.S. security, would do a superb job. That's why she's being opposed.
89. This person would be responsible for going in every morning and updating the President of the United States on our national security interests around the world. This person would be responsible every morning of giving the President of the United States every option, every scenario to go with every report. This person would go in every morning and will have to be a person, the person that the President of the United States can trust. And that's Tulsi Gabbard. She has my full support. You've got to make phone calls. You've got to put the MAGA pressure on. It has to happen. If Tulsi Gabbard does not get approved based on yelling at her and screaming at her over Edward Snowden, just saying. All right, now, the FBI. I want to go into the FBI. I tell you what, let's take a break and we're going to come back and do the FBI and education right after these brief messages. Take a break.